say when. Hey guys, welcome back to Unleashed, and I want to tell you welcome back to Unleashed for the second time today. We thought we were recording for the last half an hour, and Kevin looked down and said, oh no, and the button was green instead of red.
Deja vu.
He goes, oh, it's just my stupidity. No, I said first, hey, maybe that's just an attack of the enemy, because it was really great what we were talking about. He goes, yeah, maybe it was just my stupidity, right? Oh,
I don't want to give him credit when I deserve it.
I told him immediately, when I'm at home doing podcasts, there goes the garbage truck. I got to start over. The dog is barking. There goes the neighbor behind me has a lawnmower, and he has rock and roll. I love rock music, but he has it playing 24/7. I mean that. His garage door is up, and music blares all day, all night long.
We're 1 minute in, and I've looked 3 times to make sure it's red. It's red.
Well, see, challenges are gifts. Now it really makes you pay attention more.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, what'd you do over the weekend?
Okay, I conquered a problem. I have a big pizza oven, big dome pizza oven, not that kind you can take with you on your trip,
right?
Which I should have bought, but more on that later. Over COVID, built a big, huge pizza oven. Love it. But this year, this whole year, last 6 months since we've been trying to use it, I have just failed to get it up to temperature. We've literally cooked our pizzas in the oven in the house.
How hot does that wood stove have to be to do your pizzas?
It'll cook them at 500 because my stove will, but the stove operates differently because there's heat underneath the pizza that's moving, whereas when you put it into the pizza oven, it's on the stones, right? So you need sort of the air movement at 500 to cook it properly. But at 650, 700, it does a decent job. I really want it at 750 to 800. But I'd like to get it up to 1,000. Get up to 1,000, get that heat really baked, and then you can push the coals back. It'll drop a little bit. Around 800, we'll start putting pizzas in. But I couldn't get my wood. And I have very, very, very hard wood that I use, like maple and then harder, right, et cetera. Osage orange. And, yeah. So, I'm even adding oxygen. I've got a big outside fan that I'm like one of those big standing,
right, to heat it
huge,
up.
and I'm blowing air into it, and it's creating fire, but that wood just won't catch the way that wood can catch. The dome just doesn't afford that. Well, I'm like, okay, I'm about to give up. I'm like Sledgehammer, ready to give up. That's how far along I am on this thing. Mm. And I decide, I'm supposed to make pizzas on Friday night for some friends coming over, and I go, Sky, I'm just going to try what we did when we first started. I'm just going to go to Lowe's, get that bag of $8 worth of crappy wood that's going to burn up really fast, and it worked.
And it worked.
Just like it did last time. So I got it up to 600, 700, and then I threw my hardwood in, and then it was able to catch, and we got up to 1,000 degrees. So it was wonderful, and the pizzas came out amazing. So I felt like a man again.
Yeah, like a mannequin.
I felt like a man.
Like a mannequin.
Again.
A mannequin. Finnegan, begin again.
Yes.
Fire's an amazing thing. When I was a kid, I used to love to take little plastic baggies. What's that? It's like the, that you wrap your food in, like pizza in.
Ziploc?
No, you pull out and you rip it off. Saran wrap.
Okay.
And we would take this and put it on the end of a stick and roll it around and then light it. And when it would drip, it would go, pew, pew.
That's cool stuff.
Now, I'm going to make a confession here. Never told anybody. Well, I did tell my parents this before they passed
It's still
away.
on record over here.
I know. Well, so this would be way past.
Are we?
The
statute of limitations is gone?
Statute of limitations
okay, you're
has been
good.
gone
All right,
for
go ahead.
55 years.
Okay.
I was probably about 8 years old, and we would go to Scranton, Pennsylvania, and there was a little candy store called Kabeski's, and there was this woman who was 102 years old, and she still ran the store. And the neighbor kid said, hey, let's go down to the store. My parents let me go. It was down one dirt alley. It was, like a side street thing, which there was almost no houses there.
Okay.
But there was one lady on the right side of it as you're on the way there. She could be really mean, you kids get off my yard. You were even close to it. Well, we stopped behind her house on the way back from the candy store, and he's got a stick, and he's got some of that cellophane, and we light it on fire, and we're having fun just watching it go, pew, pew. And we start kind of whipping the stick a little bit in our hand, and it's flipping it. Well, it was kind of a summer where there wasn't a whole bunch of rain.
Uh-oh.
And her backyard was brown.
Uh-oh.
And it eventually turned to black. along with the backside of her house.
Uh-oh.
I didn't even know what had happened. We didn't even know. The next thing we know, fire trucks are all there. And I never said a word. I mean, it didn't burn her house down, but it scorched the backside of it. Probably cost thousands of dollars in damage. And I was like an 8-year-old kid. But wow, you talk about my throat being, my stomach in my throat and that kind of a deal. Anyhow, so you guys did wood pizza. What's your favorite pizza?
I am truly a traditionalist, although I like to get a little creative. I'm not a lot creative when it comes to pizza. When I grew up eating pizza, it was like pepperoni pizza, pepperoni pizza, pepperoni. My mom would have cheese, and I was like, how can you not have pepperoni? Like, I don't understand. Even though cheese pizza is the most basic. So I'm really much more of a sausage guy now, pork sausage. I love pork sausage. But we went on a cruise around Italy, and I got exposed to a lot of incredible pizza. Hot dog and onion pizza, prosciutto and whatever, arugula, which they call rocket, which adds a great peppery flavor. But I made a pear onion pizza. So I sauteed sweet onions way down until they were just like, not quite a paste, but close to it. Smothered that on with a little bit of cream as the sauce, and then put pear on top of it and mozzarella. It was really good.
Interesting.
And that's way outside my normal comfort zone for pizza.
When I make popcorn, I put a slight layer of spray butter and then Parmesan, and then another layer of popcorn, butter, Parmesan. I've always said, man, if you were to sell it like at the state fair, because it's really good.
Yeah.
You just need a little different flavors. But anyhow.
Yeah.
So my pizza, I would say meat lovers.
Yeah, I mean, that's right where I'm at.
Yeah, it's that
I don't love Italian sausage because I'm not a dill seed fan. But other than that, yeah, all those meats are great. Bacon, beef, give it to me. Ham.
We thought about getting pizza this weekend because I wanted to get some kind of an Italian food. So I took Stacy to Indianapolis like on a surprise date. Went to a place called Mama Caroli's. If you're anywhere near Indianapolis, it's well worth it. I mean, the environment's incredible, great date night kind of a thing. And then we went home and we just said, let's just kind of chill out tonight. There's nobody there except us. Let's watch some movies. And I don't know if you're like me. It's like you get your snack ready and you didn't pick the movie yet. So you're going, what kind of a movie do you want to watch? And she's like, well, yeah, I like, romance. And
right.
I'm like, well, you know me, I'm kind of like John Rambo.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing.
Very romantic.
Very romantic. Well, he could be. Remember with some of he always would have these lone women that were loners too, and then they would die. Yeah. And then once again, now John's hurt again, so John retreats even more and becomes even more volatile or whatever. But so we compromised and we ended up watching a comedy. But I think, we were talking about what are we going to talk about today, outside of pizza, is really about, and you brought this up. You said, what if we talked about some things like loneliness and isolation?
Yeah, there's kind of an epidemic's the wrong word, but there's kind of a big surge in loneliness right now. And I think maybe propelled by COVID, I don't know. But I forwarded some stats to you. It's amazing. The percentage of people that say they have felt lonely even within the last week, let alone the last 24 hours. And I'm like, if you felt lonely in the last week or the last 24 hours, you're lonely. I mean, to have experienced that recently is probably not a fluke. That's what I'm saying. It's probably frequent. So,
I mean, there's someone in my family that I've sat down with in the last 24 hours. Is really struggling with that feeling of loneliness. I think I got done with a podcast with one of my buddies, and he's a big dude. I mean, this guy is like 6'4", 6'5", 280, was benching 500 pounds, big dude.
Monster.
We get back to the house one day, and before we get out, he says, hold on a second. I just want to ask you a question. He goes, no, this is going to sound weird coming from me. He said, but do you ever feel like alone or lonely? And I went, yeah, a lot. He said, I've really been struggling with it. And I think sometimes as men, especially being, we're at my age where I'm at, is sometimes you begin to just feel like a resource to other people. But I think that can kind of go on through your whole life too, that if you've got a talent and people want to use that, you begin to feel like you're just a talent to them or a resource, or you're really good at your job. And so they use you. And that question is, if they really knew the real me, would they want to know me?
That's interesting because I think that matches in the book with when you get to wise warrior or wise queen. Isn't that the point of the wisdom?
Yeah.
Is to have it be a resource, making you the resource?
Yeah, what we're talking about is in the new book. We cannot wait to get this in your hands. It's at a publisher right now being reviewed, and so we'll keep you posted when that's going to be.
Brent can't hardly handle it.
Oh, it's killing me. I know it's because for 2 years, some of these ideas in my head going on, and then God, we've shared the story, bringing Kevin and I together and putting this together. We just want to get it out there in your hands. But we talk about something in the book about the 5 warrior phases. And this is what he was talking about, like the last phase, which is where I'm getting ready to move into shortly, which it's not an exact number, like when you turn 65 or you turn 35. It's an estimate. But what he was talking about was like in the wise warrior phase, you begin to feel like your purpose is kind of gone, and that loneliness can sink in. Or the phase before that, which is the ruling warrior, and this is the one we were referring to, where you're old enough now, wise enough now, you've been leading your own company, your own business, and people are just needing a lot from you because you have a lot of wisdom now, or finances, or whatever it is. And so you begin to feel like you're just a resource to people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do think that those go hand in hand. Being a resource comes along with having that wisdom, and that's probably where our value is. And it's more valuable than more valuable than you usually see people giving credit for. Like my kids are a good example. My son's going to work today for his first day on the job, now as an EMT at SEALS, which is an ambulance transport service. And we're talking about, he needs to fill out his I-9 today, so he's got to get like his passport and his, birth certificate or all that junk, right, to get his stuff done for work. And I'm like, do you know how to fill out your form? Like, do you know what to do for when it asks about what you want to do for taxes and exemptions and stuff? And he just looks at me like,
Right.
And he kind of goes, oh, yeah, I think, I'm claiming whatever, no dependents or something like that. I said, okay, like, just so you know, here's the kind of the process. Because he wanted his birth certificate, his passport, his driver's license, his social security card. And I'm like, look at the request. It's this or this. You don't need to take 17 things. And
right. Unlike the BMV.
He looks at me like, how do you know that? You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. I've got 40 years of working in corporate America under my belt.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to tap into dad's wisdom when you haven't done something before.
And I think that for me too, when I get to that, when I got to that age where it was like everyone's now got their questions for me, rather than saying, hey, let's go do this together. Can you answer these questions for me because you have that knowledge? Well, yeah, and that's great. And I want to have that input into your life. But I think sometimes we want someone to go, I want to spend time with you. That's what I like. Yeah. The older I get, I'm relational, and that means a lot to me.
Going back to Rambo for a second, I think there's something that you were heading down the path on, and maybe we changed paths, but there is kind of a gruffness, a roughness, type, whatever that comes along with that solo hero that we think about, the Rambos of the world, who else comes to mind? John McClane.
Yeah. We had Wolverine, Batman.
Wolverine, all tragic stories or other reasons why they're lonely.
And why they isolated. Batman, he got the Batcave, right? He goes and spends all of his time away from everybody. He's a recluse. Rambo does the same thing.
Right. Solo. Han Solo.
Yes.
That's the perfect name for a guy who's a loner.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Han Solo.
Yeah. But as men, for some reason, and we probably have our dads to blame and their dads to blame and their dads to blame and their dads to blame, we grow up thinking we're not supposed to ask for help. We're not supposed to have these feelings or be as emotional as we are.
What about Darth Vader? Wow. It is too late for me.
It's never too late, Dad.
Turn to the dark side of the Force, whatever it was.
Yeah.
He didn't have a British
totally
accent.
a loner.
Yeah, and I don't remember. Do you remember his story?
I mean, I watched the movies.
Yeah, I did too. I can't remember. I just remember, he was Luke's father. We find out later.
Yes. Well, previous to that, the Chancellor, the real evil guy, persuaded him over to the dark side by working on his emotions.
What was that guy? It was like, my young Skywalker. What was that?
That was him.
That was him?
The Emperor.
Yeah, he was creepy.
Yeah, he was also the Chancellor of the whatever.
Yeah, he was creepy.
Senate. Yeah. Yeah, very good. Very good series. Really enjoyed all those movies. Would like some more if they don't screw it up. We'll see. But
I haven't seen one at all. Was it 1970? Was it
77?
7 when it came out? I remember going to the movie theater.
We stood in a line. It's Hutchinson, Kansas. We stood in a line around the block.
Hutchinson.
Couldn't even see the big Paramount billboard or whatever's out front until you got around the corner. That's how long the line was to see this movie.
Yeah, I've hunted in Hutchinson, just outside of it, yeah.
Yeah, really?
Yep, sure have.
Oh, my gosh. I grew up 30 miles from Hutchinson.
Yep.
Well, 30 minutes.
Well, Stacy and I did an event out there for a church 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years ago this October in Hutchinson.
I'll be darned.
Yep.
That's
Amazing coffee shop we went to there.
That's where I first learned what a sub sandwich was.
Really?
Place was called Sub and Stuff.
Huh.
I mean, it's not even
Do you
around
remember
anymore.
HR Puffin' Stuff?
No.
HR Puffin' Stuff. Where you go when things get rough. HR Puffin' Stuff.
Is it
You can't get a little and you can't get enough.
cigarettes?
No, it was a television. It was like this big, what was his name?
Puffin' Stuff?
HR Puffin' Stuff. You'll have to Google that
Sounds
sometime.
like a chewing tobacco, smoking, whatever type thing.
No, and there was, I forget, was it Donny Osmond or someone who was like,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's going
Definitely
way
not
back.
smoking if Donny Osmond's
Okay,
in
let's
there.
just get away from Donnie and go back to John Rambo.
Yes,
Okay.
Lonely Men.
Lonely Men, because I don't think, well, he might have been lonely.
I don't know. He might have been. There's a song that comes to mind when I think of Lonely Men, though. I don't know where we're at in the song here, but
What is this?
this is Ray Charles. I live on a lonely avenue. I could die.
You know, when I think about music and about like songs that you go, man, they must be really living lonely lives. I go back to Cheap Trick. I want you to want me.
I want you to want me.
I need you to need
Yep.
me. Like, how codependent is that song?
So much so.
If you don't give me what I'm needing, then I'm going to die. You know, it's just, or when I hear a parent too, we talked about this a minute ago, using shame and condemnation on their child to try to get them to, you know, behave or act in a godly way. And they'll use that phrase, you just broke the heart of God. It's like, really? You can't cause God to have unhealthy emotions.
Good luck breaking the heart of God.
Yeah, he's going to have to go on an antidepressant now. Sorry.
It's gonna be tough.
You have that kind of power over God. Seriously? Yeah. Anyhow, what were we? We're talking about isolation, loneliness.
Yeah, we, just going back to the first podcast, you guys didn't get to hear that we recorded today because we didn't record it today.
Right. So now we're scrambling. What
I
did
was
we talk about?
I was reminded of, because so loneliness is really a reflection of relationships, right? You're not lonely when you're in great relationships. That's just a reflection of it. It's kind of the opposite of. And I was reminded of, and I don't remember when I learned this, but this view of the cross. So you look at the horizontal view of the cross. If you want to have great relationships horizontally, meaning here on earth, you have to have a great relationship vertically, meaning with our Lord. And I think that's really one of the big challenges is that we tell ourselves that relationship is not good enough or not in place, or I don't know how to put it, because he can't love me more.
Right.
Right? I could love him more, and that's probably the issue, because he can't love me more. How's he going to love me more than sending his son for me?
There's a phrase that I had, I think it was in my last book. I said, there's nothing we can do or say that can make God love you more, and there's nothing we can do or say that can make God love you less.
Love that.
How powerful is that?
Love that. That's
Even
fantastic.
on my worst day or on my best day?
Did you say that was a song?
No, it was just a line I put in the book. There's nothing.
Oh, in the book?
Yeah. I think it was in The Roar Within. I think that was.
I was going to say, did I not read that page?
You know, one of my favorite stories of all time, when you think about like being isolated, was the story of the Endurance, or Sir Ernest Shackleton. You know, I think the hull on that ship, the Endurance was the name of the ship, was like 4 feet thick. And they were going to the Antarctic, right? They were going to be the first ones to try to find this way and sail all the way to this place and get there. And they got stuck in an ice pack and trapped, and it crushed the hull of the ship. And the boat listed to its side, and it was just being totally crushed. And what did Shackleton do? This is interesting, because he knew that isolation was going to kill his men, that it's going to cause you to have unhealthy thoughts, emotions, and actions. That's what isolation does. Maybe you're like me, and you work from home all day, and you have no one to talk to. My wife will walk in, and all of a sudden, I've got 1,000 things I'm saying because I haven't talked to anybody the entire day. And some days she can be like, honey, slow down. Ask me about my day. And I'm going, you've been talking to people all day. Because sometimes you don't realize what isolation does. And Shackleton did. And he said, I want you to rip out all these rooms inside the boat. I want you to make one big room.
Yeah.
We're going to have community together.
So smart.
Yeah. Isolation was going to kill you.
I'm going to make it my goal to talk about pickleball in every single episode. I will say this. I play pickleball now with 30 to 50 different people who I did not know before pickleball, many of whom say, if it wasn't for my friends in pickleball. Whether it's I had cancer surgery and you guys brought me food, whether it's I'm going through a divorce and you cared for me, loved me, called me, made me come out and play. I can't tell you how many people, out of just a smaller group, 30 to 50, that would say, if it wasn't for my friends in pickleball. And I love that phrase, but I would much rather them say if it wasn't for my friends at church.
Yeah.
But I'm not hearing that from all of them.
But then
But there's still a community.
I think about the church, what the church was or wasn't back in Jesus' day. And when you're talking about the church, we're talking about the body, right? No matter where you're getting together, no matter where you're meeting, if Christ is in you, right? You're connecting on that level. I spoke. I didn't tell you this, but Saturday morning I spoke for a whitetail deer hunting seminar locally here out at my buddy Doug Gert's archery. And when I was done speaking, I said to the guys, I said, "Hey, if any of you have any more questions, come up to me off to the side," because we had another speaker too that we're going to talk. And I got bombarded with questions. But here's the thing: they were coming up to me, and because they had that passion, like pickleball. It was I didn't know these guys.
Yeah, it's a community.
Very quickly, my Facebook started lighting up with friend requests because people are looking to connect with someone who thinks, breathes, loves what they do, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool because it still allows us to have platforms, right? Your platform is around your hunting and fishing, I would assume passion, but mostly hunting passion, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
adventure.
A part of mine is around physical activity, playing sports.
Yeah.
And in this case, pickleball. So, yeah.
But the isolation, it really can be a killer. I love that story. If you've never read the book called The Endurance with Sir Ernest Shackleton, it's worth the read. Because,
unbelievable.
I said this on a podcast a few weeks ago. I look at who are the 6 guys that are going to carry me out when my time comes. But don't focus on that. Focus more on the 6 guys that are going to carry you through this life, not just out the door.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
We need those. In the new book, we talk about that. One of my favorite sections in this new Unleashed book. And guys, we'll let you know when that's going to be coming out. We're getting close, but it's still going to be a couple of months away. We talk about the 5 phases of the warrior. And now, if you go back a couple of months when Kevin first came on the podcast, we talked a little bit about that. But when you think about isolation and loneliness, so the 5 phases, just so you know what the 5 phases of the warrior are. The first one is the beloved warrior. Those are your childhood years, right? Those are when you're small, probably up to like 12 or 13. Then your next phase after the beloved warrior is the young warrior. That's your teens, maybe early 20s. It kind of overlaps a little bit. Then the mighty warrior is when a man reaches, his mid to late 20s and 30s, kind of a time frame, and that's the mighty warrior. The ruling warrior, again, that's like the midlife leadership type of a thing. That's more of like when you're in your 40s and 50s, maybe early 60s. And then what I'm approaching it's called the wise warrior. And the wise warrior is, you're getting older. You have a lot of wisdom now to share. And so this morning I went to Starbucks, and I was going through all these things before I came over here. And I think if you look at every one of those phases, and Kevin, you know these phases, when you look at, let's just kind of like break this down real quick on this.
Yeah.
Where do you, in your own life, did you see something in the beloved warrior phase, in your childhood years, that made you feel maybe afraid or lonely,
Yeah.
and you chose to isolate?
Yeah, there was definitely a time. I mean, in grade school, right, which is part of those early years, beloved warrior years, I don't know if I know the root cause, but there was a point in time where I'm on the way home from work.
Yeah.
School.
Child labor laws.
Child work. I'm on the way home from school, and a couple guys surround me. They're my classmates, and one of them grabs me. He's holding me over this like metal stake that's sticking out of the ground, and he's literally threatening to kill me. And I mean, that's scary as it gets, really. In my mind, I pictured all the other guys around him, which was probably 6 to 10 kids. Again, I don't remember, you remember the event, but you don't really know what's going on because you're scared to death, and all you're thinking is this guy's going to kill me. And I mean, I pictured the 6 or 8 of those kids around just kind of cheering him on. And I know that 2 or 3 were because they were the ones that surrounded me. The other ones might have been yelling stop for all I know. I don't know, because all I could picture was I'm going to die on this stake a block and a half from home with my quote unquote friends that I play football with.
And no one's stopping it.
Yeah. Where's anyone? I'm just thinking I'm going to die. I'm not thinking anything else, but I'm going to die, right? I'm probably in 4th or 5th grade. So whatever that age is, 9, 10. And, I mean, after that, I wouldn't go out. You know, I don't want to play football with them. I don't know if it was for laughs or what. Like, I just don't know the root cause.
Maybe shame that you didn't defend yourself, or maybe you thought you couldn't.
I mean, well, that goes to my next story, which is the next stage of life, which is young warrior, teens. I mean, I was a 72-pound scrawny kid when I went into high school. I mean, I could wrestle 72 pounds in junior high, and it was like the lowest weight. I think 69 was the lowest weight. And
you were like me. You could turn sideways, stick your tongue out. You look
yeah,
like a zipper.
like a zipper. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like you, I got into martial arts, and I never bulked up. I mean, I was a whopping 135 dripping wet when I got out of high school, and pretty close to 135 when I met my wife, which was 5 years later. So, I mean, in high school, I felt some of the similar type situations where I felt completely, alone because, again, root causes. I always I've thought about them in the past. Maybe because I was smarter than some of them. Maybe. I mean, I did get better grades, and I was usually looked at as smarter than them. It wasn't because I was more athletic necessarily, or that I made them look bad. I did make a couple of those guys look bad on the football field. I was on the C team, and this was in junior high, and they made me go into return punts. I returned the first 2 for touchdowns.
Oh, wow.
Against the A team. But what does the coach do? The coach yells at his A team, smear that kid, like crush him, beat him up, like he needs to hurt after this. And
wow, sounds like a movie.
But they should have said, "Hey, Kev, maybe you should be on our punt return
kidding.
team."
This
right?
kid's got some talent.
Right. I was always good at that. But no, it was instead the A team. And then, I mean, all 11 of them made sure that I hurt after the 3rd time I returned a punt. And I knew it was going to happen. I was like, I can't. I'll do everything I can to return a throw for a touchdown. If I do, I'm just going to keep running.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like Forrest Gump.
I'm not coming back.
Going, right?
Back.
The question that we've talked about so many times is, when every man's life is, in that moment when I'm called upon to come through, can I, will I, do I have what it takes? That's the question. And I think in every one of these phases, when I go down looking at each one of these young warrior, mighty warrior, ruling warrior, wise warrior, all those things, it's that do I have what it takes in every phase.
Yeah, but that's a lie.
Oh, no, exactly.
That's the lie.
That's all about identity.
That's that Bryce Lee.
That song.
Oh, Lee Bryce. Dang it,
It's better than Bruce Lee.
Better than Bruce Lee. Lee Bryce song about lies. Like, what lies are you telling yourself? And one of those lies that we tell ourselves as men is, do I have what it takes? Am I good enough? Can I get this done on my own?
Yeah. If for some reason that I was on the C team and I ran 2 back for a touchdown and they didn't put me on the A team, well, I must not have been good enough. Again, there's the core question. Do I have what it takes? Evidently, they see something in me that I'm not good enough.
Oh, he just got lucky.
Right. Yeah, I don't have what it takes. And so then we begin to compare ourselves with everybody else around us.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you keep doing that long enough, you will feel like you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Because there's always someone in some area that's got more talent than you do. But God, what's that thing about God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you go back and look at through who the people were that he called, it's like, really?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, every one of them, tick them off. Really? Him? Really? Him? Abraham at this age, Moses with his stupidity and his inability to communicate. I mean, like, really? The guy who can't talk?
Yeah, I know. So it's pretty crazy.
And you just keep going. Look at the disciples. It's like,
yeah, well,
these
watching
clowns?
The Chosen, and you see these guys, and you're like, and they get it though. Later on, they're like, they come to him, teacher, why did you choose me?
Exactly.
I mean, you look at Simon, becomes Peter. He's got these anger issues, right? You've got Matthew, the tax collector.
And nobody liked him.
Nobody likes him. Not even his own family likes him.
No. Yeah,
I mean, I was thinking back when you were talking about being young. I was the same way. When I graduated high school, I was 118 pounds. I mean, it was. You want to talk about someone's question, do you have what it takes at that age and you're that size and everybody else is way bigger than you? No, you feel totally inferior. I never thought about, I was the youngest kid in my class. I was like a year younger than everybody else. I didn't connect growth with each year of life. I just knew that that's all the bigger I was compared to these kids.
Right.
I think for me in the beloved warrior phase, my best friend and I were in a treehouse my dad had built, maybe, 70 yards up behind the house, just into the woods. And these 2 bullies, neighborhood bullies, had hatchets. And they climbed up the stairs and they were threatening to hit us with these hatchets. And we were freaked out. I was thinking, I'm gonna jump somehow out of here and grab a tree and slide all the way down, even if I get all scraped up.
It's better than a hatchet.
Yeah. And so finally, they were getting loud enough that my dad happened to be around the back of the house and he could hear it. And he starts saying something, and then I was like, Dad, Dad, kind of a deal. And he comes up, and those boys took off. Well, I went back to my room that night, and I was glad that my dad kind of, bailed us out, obviously. But I also know that I will see those two other bullies again.
Tomorrow's a coming.
It's coming. And because I had to call for my daddy, right?
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't have what it takes. And I remember that was a big breaking point in me, feeling like I could never be big enough, tough enough, good enough. And then every phase that you can go through, we just talked about the beloved warrior. Then you go into the young warrior. And boy, you look at how, like we talked about our teenage years, feeling smaller than everybody else. We couldn't compete or whatever. And then maybe you go from that and get to what's the next? The mighty warrior. And you begin to feel overwhelmed with work. Maybe you've got kids now and you have all these expectations, and you begin to not even recognize yourself anymore, the one person you knew, because you've almost lost your identity from trying to do everything for everybody else. Then you get to the ruling warrior. That's that midlife leadership phase, and you've been being crushed because you have so much responsibility. The loneliness, part of that's because you're starting to feel more like a resource and someone who is truly loved. You're valued for what you can put out, what you can give, not because of who you are. And then within the wise warrior phase, some of the questions, do I still have a purpose? Because we know how the younger generation looks at the older generation. That's not a new thing. Right? No, you can go back in cultures, and yes, there was a time when the elders were really honored and held up.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The sage kind of phase. And I think there's some cultures that still kind of do that. I think the Japanese culture, to some degree, honors their elders in that way. But it comes back down to, do I really have what it takes in every phase of life? And so I was sitting there at Starbucks this morning, and it was kind of fun because I want to throw this in ChatGPT and say, hey, for men that are feeling lonely and isolated, what do you see as being the cure? Knowing it was going to throw something stupid out there, right? Sure enough. It threw back all these behavior modifications. I said, wait a second, this is coming from a Christian perspective. Oh, okay. Then it said, then you want to go to church, you want to read the Bible, get in small group studies, memorize. Again, behavior modification. Now hear me, that's maybe a better behavior modification in some way, but it still doesn't go back to the identity, your core of, no. The cure for all this stuff is your identity. Christ being in you. You have everything you will ever need.
And that is a belief. Beliefs determine behavior.
Yeah. Your beliefs, when you think about thoughts, emotions, and actions, like cognitive therapy, your thoughts create your emotions create your actions. But it's your belief system that shapes how you think, feel, and act. And it was your experiences that shaped those beliefs. That's why every one of us can look back in those phases, and we can look at those painful things. We're going, why do I feel lonely sometimes? Go back. Look at those. And what you have to do is when you go through those phases, and sometimes you do need to go back to each one of these phases and untangle the lies, because the pathways, the neural pathways in your brain keep going to places telling you that you weren't good enough. So you have to go back. We have something in the new book called Fight, F-I-G-H-T. And it's really about identifying those unhealthy thoughts, emotions, and actions. What scriptures do you need to go to walk with God that He can help? And then you can track that transformation. At the end of the week, you can go back and you can look, what was I believing originally this week? What lies did I untangle with Scripture? Now what percentage do I believe those lies?
Yeah, and you need to see that dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping.
And
it's tough. My wife and I were on the ride home last night from dinner, and this song came on the radio, on my Spotify. And it's a country song. I don't do much country. I'm not a big country fan. But my son's going to have country music at his wedding, so, I'm doing what I can. So I have a little playlist that I call literally The Only Country I Can Stand. And on it is that song, Lies, that I was talking about by Lee Bryce. And so I said to Sky, what lie do you tell yourself? And she's like, that's a tough question. And I'm like, yeah, and I'll start. I think the lie that I sometimes tell myself is I'm too out of shape to get back into the kind of shape I need to be in. Yeah. I don't really believe that. There are moments when I do, though. And then there's moments when I don't. And those moments when I don't are obviously the healthier moments for me. But it's a lie I tell myself. we're never too far gone. From God,
Yeah.
right? To have that be reconciled quickly if we want it to be.
And the truth is, the core of who you are, if you've received Christ as Lord and Savior, it isn't a process. It was done the moment you believed.
Yeah, amen.
Transforming our body, whether it be losing this kind of weight or gaining this kind of weight, because you can have both ends of the spectrum. That's a process. But when you received Christ, and this is the most powerful truth we have, is you were transfigured in that moment, not transformed.
Yes. In an instant.
That's your new identity.
Yes.
And the enemy wants to do everything he can to step on that.
Yeah. He hates that because he just lost you.
Yeah, this is powerful stuff.
Oh, it is. It's really good stuff.
Cannot wait to get this new book out. But anything like you want to wrap up with this, with all those phases, just want to encourage you guys. You do have what it takes. And just like with Kevin, we sit down sometimes, hey, tell me about your week. Tell me about what lies you bought into. Where did you see God at work through all of that? Because I can tell you this, challenges are gifts. They really are. But it only happens when you take it before the one who has a plan for you. So anyhow, we'll keep you posted on what's going on. Make sure when you go to, you can go to unleash.men and you can get more information. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe to what we're doing here. Pass this on. If you know someone who's really struggling with isolation right now, with fear, with loneliness, pass this on and be that person, because you might be the very person today that keeps them from giving up.
Yep.
So anyhow, great to be with you guys. And let me just kind of finish off today reminding you who you really are. Because when a man knows who he is in Christ, that he's been created in the image of the living God, when he no longer is held captive by the opinions of others or cares whether he lives or dies, that man is now extremely, extremely dangerous. Dangerous for good, because he's been unleashed. Remember whose you are. The God of the universe is in you. You have everything you will ever need. You do have what it takes because of him. We'll see you next time.